Sometime after this, King Nahash of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanun became king. David said, I am going to show loyalty to Hanun because his father Nahash was always loyal to me. So David sent messengers to express sympathy to Hanun about his father's death. But when David's ambassadors arrived in the land of Ammon, the Ammonite commander said to Hanun, do you really think these men are coming here to honor your father? No, David has sent them to spy out the land so they can come in and conquer it. So Hanun seized David's ambassadors and shaved them, cut off their robes at the buttocks, and sent them back to David in shame. When David heard what had happened to the man, he sent messengers to tell them, stay at Jericho until your beards grow out, and then come back, for they felt deep shame because of their appearance. When the people of Ammon realized how seriously they had angered David, Hanun and the Ammonites sent 75,000 pounds of silver to hire chariots and charioteers from Aram Naharaim, Aram Maacah, and Zobah. They also hired 32,000 chariots and secured the support of the king of Maacah and his army. These forces camped at Medeba, where they were joined by the Ammonite troops that Hanun had recruited from his own towns. When David heard about this, he sent Joab and all his warriors to fight them. The Ammonite troops came out and drew up their battle lines at the entrance of the city, while the other kings positioned themselves to fight in the open fields. When Joab saw that he would have to fight on both the front and the rear, he chose some of Israel's elite troops and placed them under his personal command to fight the Arameans in the field. He left the rest of the army under the command of his brother Abishai, who was to attack the Ammonites. If the Arameans are too strong for me, then come over and help me, Joab told his brother. But if the Ammonites are too strong for you, I will help you. Be courageous. Let us fight bravely for our people in the cities of our God. May the Lord's will be done. When Joab and his troops attacked, the Arameans began to run away. And when the Ammonites saw that the Arameans were running, they also ran from Abishai and retreated into the city. Then Joab returned to Jerusalem. The Arameans now realized that they were no match for Israel. So they sent messengers and summoned additional Aramean troops from the other side of Euphrates River. These troops were under the command of Shobach, the commander of Hadazezer's forces. When David heard what was happening, he mobilized all Israel, crossed the Jordan River, and positioned his troops in battle formation. Then David engaged in Arameans in battle, and they fought against him. But again, the Arameans fled from the Israelites. This time, David's forces killed 7,000 charioteers and 40,000 foot soldiers, including Shobach, the commander of their army. When Hadadezer's allies saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they surrendered to David and became his subjects. After that, which brings me to my message today. Whatever it is that has come up against you, whatever it is that you are facing currently, whatever it is that makes you feel like you have no way, you're trapped, you will never be able to overcome the bills that are coming up against you, or you will never be able to find the job that God has appointed for you to be able to walk into, it's coming. But the point is to not lay down in defeat. You have to pick yourself up, and you cannot give up. You have to begin to face your problems head on. Whatever it is that is coming up against you will not win. God will not allow it to, because you are taking the first step and you're moving forward. You're pushing forward, regardless of what your situation looks like. You will win. But you cannot run, you cannot hide. You have to face these problems head on. Stop dodging the phone calls of these bill collectors. Stop getting upset and falling into depression because the jobs that you are applying for, the doors are not opening. Have you ever thought that maybe you are settling too low? Or have you ever thought God is trying to protect you from stepping into something that you will later on regret? I mean, pick yourself up, begin to seek God and see what it is that he has for you, what it is that he wants you to conquer, and where it is that he wants you to walk in. He will not fail you. He will not leave you, but you have to get up out of this pit and keep moving forward. Don't let the enemy even think for a second that they can defeat you, because God is with you and he is someone who cannot be defeated. So as long as that exists, you can't be defeated. The only person who can defeat you is yourself. And that's when you begin to give into the things that the enemy are saying against you. When you begin to accept it, then you fail. But when you pick yourself up and you choose to stand, regardless to whatever it is, regardless to how big it is, regardless to the giant that seeks to come down and cause you to fall, you won't fall. If anything, it has to fall. But you must stand. I could testify on myself. There was years ago, about maybe 3-4 years now, I had ended up getting evicted, going through a problem that I could not, stop it from happening. I had financial difficulties going on at that time. And so anyway, I got evicted and it was on my credit score, what the apartment complexes look for when you go to apply for a place to stay or rent or whatever that is that you do. Okay, it popped up, but it was for an apartment complex. Turns out that God did not want me to go. But let me tell you something. When I got to the right place that God had appointed for me to be able to walk through and to live, I got there and I filled out the application regardless to knowing what I had against me that was showing up in their computer system. I stepped out with no fear. When I filled out that application, the lady pulled it up and she turned that screen around. She said, I could see where you lived at an apartment complex, but it says the amount owed is $0.00. So therefore, you're not going to tell me what my God can't do for you. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. But you got to pick yourself up. You have to step out and you have to face your problems head on. No fear, no discouragement, no disgrace. Forget the shame. Walk up to it and face it. I guarantee God will not leave you alone. The second testimony is from another person. She was facing a situation to where she was losing her house. She worked so hard and did everything that she possibly could, but she ended up facing a situation, financial difficulty. She got pregnant and she couldn't work anymore. Her doctor forced her to have to quit her job, so she fell out of work. And before she left, she had naysayers around her. Oh, you ain't gonna be able to get out of this. They finna foreclose your house, and you're gonna end up working all your life and having to pay money towards that house. You ain't gonna be able to get out of that. I know people right now that's stuck in that, and they still paying for a house that they don't even live in. So this person was to go forward and to step out with no fear. She faced her problems head on like the champion she is today. And she was able to conquer it because she was not alone. She found somebody, a company had reached out to her, and she liked the company. She listened to everything that they had to say. And this company was God sent. She can't even remember the name of the company that brought her out of what she was facing. It was God sent. And so when it happened, she owed nothing. The whole situation was taken care of. She owed nothing. So even though what she was facing was bigger than her, and all kind of things were coming up against her in regards to this house, she faced it head on and defeated it. She got the victory. She was not alone in the matter. God was with her. The same thing with what you're facing right now. If you stand and face it and show no fear, like God instructs us numerous times through his word not to do, but we do it anyway. We choose to fear. We choose to fall into depression when God is steady telling us not to give in to our emotions of whatever we feel is too much for us. We have to come to a point in life to realize that God is with us and nothing is impossible or nothing is too hard for him. God. So these serpents that are rising up and trying to cause you to feel paralyzed, like you will not get out of the matter, forget that. Stand and face it. And I guarantee you, God's grace and his mercy is in, and you will conquer. But you cannot fear. Well, I'm not going to hold you all too long. That's about it. But also to you all who are applying for jobs, like I said before, keep knocking. Don't get to a standstill. Don't get to a faint. You know, God has somewhere that he has appointed for you to work, and that door is going to open, but you cannot faint. You cannot get to a point where you're allowing like what you see in the natural to cause you to feel like there is no way out, or you won't be able to ever work again. There is a place for you. As I said, seek God for it. If God answers not, just keep on applying, keep knocking. His word can't lie. If you keep knocking, that door has to open one way or another. But don't give up. And whatever you're facing, whatever bills, whatever debts are coming against you, don't give up. Just like David. They didn't even have enough armies. These people had actually went out of their way to go. They had their own armies, and then they went and sent silver to hire more people to come on their side to help them to be able to conquer the little that the Israelites had. But God took what they had and helped them to defeat their enemies. Because they refused to bow down. They refused to fear, knowing that they didn't have enough. They refused to look to that and just say, well, it's not enough. I'm not going to go and do this here. Because they knew that God was with them. And power and his might added up and accounted for what they didn't have. And they defeated their enemies. And that's just like how we have to be today, regardless to whatever it is. Stand. Stand. Shoot. Call those debtors and see. I mean, you don't know how God is going to work this matter out. And when they call you, don't dodge. Answer the phone. Talk to them. Face it. Stop running. You don't know how God is going to touch their heart. You don't know how that matter is going to be subdued. You don't know. If you're running, you will never get to fully accomplish everything that God wants you to accomplish and conquer everything that he wants you to conquer, because you're constantly living in fear and the what ifs. You're missing out on the things that God has because you are afraid. And that was one more thing I was supposed to say. Give me just a minute, it might come back. What was it? If I don't remember it today, I'll say it when I come on again, whenever. But what the heck was it? It was really important. Gosh. I really can't. So anyway, I had said I wasn't gonna hold you all long. If I remember, I'll come back on, but if not, I will take note of it and speak it on my next video. You all have a good day. Bye.